Voice in our ears, but the more we raise the sound of its call, we'll thunder and feast on any man, any beast. Doesn't matter, we'll snack on them all. The stragglers we didn't consume are dropped in our sacrifice too. They scream and they run, but that's part of the fun, as the ogres are coming to get ya! There's jumping on knees, feeding our guns, we are swallowing trees, tearing, chewing, we kill for the more, the power and wrath what we're going for. Crunching and biting, we kill for the more, the power and wrath what we're doing it for.
Well, that was something, wasn't it? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan, and after a musical number, we can now finally confirm that the Ogre Kingdoms were the pre-order incentive. Who would have guessed, considering that Creative Assembly had been giving a lot of hints towards the Ogre Kingdoms, but hey, it didn't really come as a surprise. But we do have a lot of information that we can talk about, so let's just jump right in. So first and foremost, we have two bits of information from that trailer that we need to discuss. We finally have a release date for Total War Warhammer 3, which is on the 17th of February 2022. It's not that far away now, so yeah, this is good. We're pretty much done with all the reveals, and I'm assuming the gameplay will start very soon. And I've been told that this is very big information. I must admit that I'm not too familiar with this, but Total War Warhammer 3 will be available on Game Pass, and I've been told that this is a big thing. I literally know nothing about most things, let's just be honest about that. The most important thing for me here is of course the release date, as we finally have it. We also know of course that the pre-order incentive is the Ogre Kingdoms, which have been highly requested for a long time now, and now we have to jump into the FAQ for Warhammer 3, as there's a lot of information there too. Oh, and before everyone starts asking in the comments, yes, this is Grease's Goldtooth, the over-tyrant of the Ogre Kingdoms. I must admit, he looks as disgusting as his miniature, so I'm actually quite happy about that. And obviously we were really much expecting him, and the Ogre Kingdoms were coming and he wasn't coming along? Well, that would be absolutely disappointing, wouldn't it? We do have a few in-game screenshots that we need to talk about, so let's discuss that right now. So this is the first one that I was given, and obviously we can see a stone horn in the back. That's the very big mount. Honestly, can't wait to play as this, as I do have a few Stonehorn models and they're just really fun. And at the very front we can see what I can assume to be a Slaughtermaster and of course a Firebelly. These are the two different spellcasters within the Ogre Kingdom army book, and the Slaughtermaster, the one at the very front, has his own unique lore. The Firebelly has access to the lore of fire. Now, if they're getting anything else, I really don't know, but we're going to have to wait until they eventually give us a proper roster reveal. On the second screenshot, we have Scrag the Slaughterer. He's not really been given a name out yet, but I mean, his model just looks like Scrag, so if it's something else, I'll be really confused. I mean, it's just a spitting image of that model, and it looks so cool. I am a big fan of this character. I have him painted. He was one of the first few ogres that I painted up, and it's just so awesome. Now, at the back we can see the two spellcasters once again, and some giants. I believe this is just an ogre version of the giants, because yes, ogres did have giants in their army book. Originally, the armor made me think, well, it's just the helmet really, but it made me think it was a siege giant, but I very much doubt it, as they still seem quite small when compared to ogres, and normally siege giants have a lot more armor than that. Here we've got Grease's Goldtooth. My only real complaint is he isn't being pulled by 1,000 Noblars, but I'm assuming that even that was way too difficult to animate, so he's on this type of go-kart. It still looks good, so it's no complaints from me. It's just, obviously you're used to growing up with models and so on, so you expect it in a certain way, but change is okay. And what we can see over here is some iron guts around him. I'm assuming those are Iron Guts, they look like them. So we're already getting to see some new units, which we're probably going to get the full roster. I mean, let's be honest, it's a pre-order incentive, there's not a lot they can bring in, as the Ogres didn't really have that many years of different types of units and so on, and this works well if they can bring in as much as possible. Next we have an overview of a Ogre settlement. I'm not sure if this is minor or major, but it does look very visually impressive. If you take a quick look next to the bridge, you'll also notice a Noblar scrap launcher. On the tabletop, that was their very mobile catapult, and it could do a lot of damage in close combat too, as it's usually pulled by Rhinoxes. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool. We're getting a lot of units shown off, even if it's just some very glimpse images, and the scenery is just wonderful. I'm not sure again if this is minor or major, but even then this is very impressive. If I want to make an educated guess, this is probably Greasus's camp, because, well, Greasus Goldtooth is the Over-Tyrant, but let's not waste any more time here. And finally, the outro screen without any text or anything on top, so if you want to screenshot this for a wallpaper, I'm not sure if Creative Assembly are going to release this in the future, but just in case you guys want it, here it is. Now, there's something that we really need to talk about. First up, let's just say there's two different types of editions where you can get the Day 1 or Limited Edition. They each have a poster, some stickers. One of them, of course, has a bit of a better look because it's the Limited Edition one, but let's talk about the map, because we finally get to see the campaign map for Warhammer 3. Keep in mind this is the base game campaign and not the Immortal Empires, which will need all three games to work. I tried to zoom in as much as possible. Obviously it's not in the best quality, as I'm assuming that Creative Assembly don't want it to be analyzed too heavily, but what we can see here is still enough to go about. What we can see is that on the bottom right hand, we have a lot of the Empire. Marienburg is there, Midland is there, Nordland is there, a lot of Norsk is there too, so we're getting a lot more of the Empire in Game 3's map than we actually thought. Now, if we move up, we've got obviously the Chaos Waste, which goes up quite high, and the 4 Realms of Chaos. I don't know how this is actually going to work, but it looks like we might just be able to walk right in. Unfortunately, we've been given no information regarding this, but this does look interesting, as obviously we've got the Realm of the Sorcerer, the Land of the Plague Lord, the Blood God's Domain, and the Dark Prince's Realm, so all 4 major Realms of Chaos are there. And yeah, I don't know, this is quite interesting. Obviously, this is something that actually happens in lore. It's very obscure, but if you travel far up north enough, you will find yourself going into the Realms of Chaos. The only thing is it's very rare, as you'll normally get slaughtered before you can even get that far. We've got all the Chaos Dwarf lands, even some stuff like the Isles where Malice is and so on. And if we go up north, obviously we've got the Mountains of Morn and a little bit of Grand Cathay. Not everything though, which is really curious considering that obviously Andy Hall did give an interview considering the lore, and they've gone very heavily into this lore. I don't know if obviously in the future they just plan on expanding the map, which is very possible. Keep in mind that this happened in Three Kingdoms, so it's not entirely out of the question to expand it further to the east, considering that obviously they did heavily hint at the Monkey King, and well, the Monkey King's territories aren't really here, as that's closer to Koresh, and right now we can't see Koresh, we can't see Ind, we can't really see anything. Still, with all that being said, there's a lot of territory, including what I can imagine to be some Kurgan territories, some Hobgoblin Incarnate territories, obviously all the stuff for the Chaos Dwarves. We're going to get a little variety, and it's nice that we're going to see a lot of different races, because if we're getting enough of the old world, that means we're going to see Imperials, some Greenskins, standard Greenskins, possibly some Vampire Counts too, and obviously Skaven, though we do expect Skaven in the Warpstone Desert. A while back, Creative Assembly did give out an interview with some games article website, I'm not too sure who it was, but they did say that the map should be around 2 times the size of the Eye of the Vortex. So this one's looking pretty big as is. Maybe they've got some extra extensions, but as far as I'm aware, this is the full map for now, and obviously we'll have to wait and see for the big mega Mortal Empires campaign in the future. From an educated guess, I'm assuming that they're adding in so many territories from Game 1 and Game 2, so they can eventually add in, say, Nagash, as I can assume his territory is here. We just can't see a lot because the stickers are in the way, and obviously Midland is there, which means that Boris Todbringer can have his day to shine. Maybe Boris and R. Ulrich versus... who knows at this point? I would say Kabanda, but I really doubt that they're going to bring Kabanda into the lore. There's not too much to go over in the FAQ, as this is the main one that was released on the announcement of Warhammer 3. It's been getting updated ever so often, and really I've been covering it when it does. So really here, all we have to talk about is the fact that there's no physical collector's edition. Unfortunately, it seems that they just couldn't be able to do it, which is understandable as, well, the past 2 years have been a bit weird, haven't they? Well, this year and last year. So yeah, maybe in the future they might do something, who knows, but I guess it's out of the question at the moment. And lastly, we have a little bit of information regarding the Ogre Kingdoms, where they'll have 2 legendary lords. It's a shame, I was expecting at least 3, to be honest. They have their own units, of course, mechanics, goals, and stories, and they can't wait to tell us about it, and there's going to be articles coming soon. 2 legendary lords is fine, I don't want to sound negative there, it's just, I don't think any of the pre-order races have ever gotten... No, they haven't. They haven't gotten any DLC throughout their respective games, and it would be a shame if we didn't see some other Ogre characters in the future. But that's pretty much it in terms of information. This video doesn't really have to be much longer than it has to be, and we've got everything we need. We know Ogre Kingdoms are coming, we've gotten a glimpse at the campaign map, which, yeah, is not what we expected, but there's a chance that it can expand with DLC in the future, which we've seen it happen in Free Kingdoms before, it can happen here again. I'm still keeping up hope for everything else, as Cafe does seem a little bit too small for, well, anyone's liking, I'm imagining. I did speak to a few other content creators who of course had access to this early, and they thought the same way. Though all of this does sound exciting, and I'm pretty hyped up. Now that we have an official release date, this sounds a lot more promising, and it's not really that long now. We're at the beginning of November at the time of recording this video, so yeah, just a little bit more. We have Christmas break coming up and all that, and then it's pretty much just the tail end to the actual release. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion, as this is big hype, especially the map, so I'm curious to see what you guys think about the map.
No voice in our ears but the more we race the sound of its tone. We'll thunder and feast on any man, any beast, doesn't matter, we'll snack on them all. The stragglers we didn't consume are dropped in our sacrifice too. They scream and they run, but that's part of the fun, cause the ogres are coming to get ya! Oh, there's chomping on this. Tearing, chewing, we kill all the more. The power and runs what we're going for. Clutching and fighting, we kill for the more. The power and runs what we're doing it for.
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our fame level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our king level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel has been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.